Alright, this is the lesson for day 131. We're going to continue on corresponding parts of congruent figures. So when we have two figures that are congruent, we could assume they're exactly the same, even though they're twisted or translated or reflected. They're not dilated. If they're not dilated, we could assume they are exactly the same. So when we assume they're exactly the same, we can make assumptions about their corresponding parts. So each corresponding side is equal to the other corresponding side, or angle, right? And we can use logic. So the logic, for example, from last week is all San Dimas students are awesome. Eli is a San Dimas student. Therefore, what's the logical conclusion you can make, everyone?
Eli is awesome.
Eli is awesome, okay? Right? So we want to use logic in math, but also in real life. You don't want to sound silly, okay? So otherwise, people will look at you differently if you sound silly and you don't know what your logic, okay? It's very important. That's why math is so important in your life. You want to sound like you're logical, okay? And you want to think logically. All right. So these are the rules from last week. We have the corresponding parts of congruent figures are congruent. So we know that. We just explained that, and these are the properties. We're just going to move on here, okay? So watch me do numbers 1 and 2, and then we will work on some together, okay? So number 1, it gives us some information, okay? We got two figures down here, and I'm looking at the original directions. I always want to read the directions to give myself an idea of what's going on, okay? So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, okay? So find the given side length or angle measure, all right? So it's asking for side AB, okay? So I want to make sense of this whole problem first, okay? So I look at this original triangle. I know that ABC is congruent to DEF. So when I look at this, there's a couple of transformations that happens. The first one is that it was reflected. Do y'all see that? Can y'all see that the first figure was reflected into the second figure? Do y'all see that?
Yes.
And do you see it's a little rotated? So it's kind of looks a little confusing. So the first thing I want to do is make sense of the problem. So I'm going to add tick marks to corresponding sides. So we have side AB. Let's start with that. That's the easy side. I'm just going to put one tick mark down here, and then I'm going to look for the corresponding side and put a tick mark here. You see how it says AB? I want to look for DE. DE is my corresponding side, so I'm going to put one tick mark there. And I'm using red because I can. So, but you can use colors or just use pencil. It's fine. And then I'm going to go to the second side on my first figure, BC. I'm going to put two tick marks there. Okay, I'm using blue on mine, but you could use pencil. It's fine. Two tick marks right here at EF. This is the corresponding side, right? Some students might get confused. You're like, oh, is it supposed to be DF? No, you want to make sure you have the right corresponding side. And then lastly, we got side AC is going to have 3 tick marks. I'll use green there, and I'll use it there. Now it's asking for side AB, which is right here, right? So it gives us a length. What is the length of AB? Well, it is 3x plus 8 inches. Well, that doesn't even tell us anything. But I'm going to go look at the corresponding side. You see on the other side we have side DE. That's the corresponding side. And it's telling me side DE is 5x inches, okay? So let's use some logic here. Would you all agree that side AB is congruent to side DE? Yes or no?
Yes.
Meaning it's exactly the same? Do you all agree with this statement up here?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now watch me do some substitution, okay? So we know that AB is equal to what? 3x plus 8. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. 3x plus 8. So I'm just going to substitute AB with 3x plus 8. Y'all see that? Then I'm going to bring down my equal sign. And then I know DE is equal to 5x. Right? Now I'm going to start solving. So just like from pre-algebra, I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. When I do that, I get 8 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And then you get 4 is equal to x, or x is equal to 4. Now that's what x is equal to, but that's not what the side is equal to. Remember, look at what AB originally was equal to. What's AB originally equal to? 3x plus 8, which means I have to substitute the x back in. So what's 3 times 4? 12, right? 12 plus 8 is 20 inches, right? And we're all done. Okay, so you should be writing these both down. Students, why don't we have you write the two figures down. Try to copy them in your notes, because remember, I'm going to let you use your notes on your test, right? So,
Yes.
So raise your hand if you wish you had better notes on that last test. Okay, good. So let's have you focus. If you're talking, that means I know you're done. I'm going to move on, okay? So we're all pausing and writing this down. All right, so if you haven't gotten it, you could always come back and pause the video again. So here we go, number 3 and 4. So I'll start us off. This will be group work for about 5 minutes. You're going to do these two problems. Okay, so let me read it out to you, and then we'll start. So number 5, it says quadrilateral GHJK is congruent to quadrilateral LMNP. Find the given side or length angle measure. So it's saying find LM and find measure of angle H, okay? Here they are. I'm going to just leave this on your own and see how you do. And I'll walk around and help you out if you need it, okay? 5 minutes. Ready, set, and go. Okay, so look at this. Did you kids get these corresponding sides? These dash marks? You see these dash marks up here? Would you agree with them? These tick marks? Raise your hand if you need more time to figure out what the values are. Okay, I'll give you one more minute. One more minute. I'll leave the tick marks up here. And I'll give you one more hint. Did you all start off with these two assumptions, these two logical equations? Congruent corresponding sides? Okay, keep going. 45 more seconds. Remember, I don't care what x or y is equal to. I care about what the final answer is on this problem. Okay, so what is the final answer, everyone, for number 3? What's the answer?
35 centimeters.
What? 35, and what about number 4? What's the answer?
98 degrees.
Okay, here are the two answers, 35 centimeters and 98 degrees. If you got it right, give someone a high five around you, even if you got one right. Yeah? Good job. Okay, sounds like most of you got it because I saw a lot of high-fiving going on. Right? Good. Okay, so I'm going to jump to, not that one. We're going to move on to number 2 here, okay? So I'm just going to switch on to this guided practice problem. So we got a company installs triangular pools at hotels. All of the pools are congruent, and triangle JKL is congruent to triangle MNP in the figure. What is the perimeter of each pool? Okay, so this is a story about a pool maker. These are the shapes of the pools. They look like triangles. Perimeter. What's perimeter mean from 6th or 7th grade math? 7th grade math. Perimeter, what does it mean? Adding all sides, or the distance around the boundary, right? Do y'all agree with that? Okay, cool. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do this. Ready, set, and go. All right, so what's the value of x, everyone? What's the value of x? No one got it in this class?
No.
Wow, and some of you were like smiling at me that you didn't get it. Wow. So, since we're wasting our AM time right now because we were talking the whole time, remember we should have started AMs right now. Okay, so here we go. Would you all agree with these tick marks? Did you at least start with tick marks, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, would you agree that the 3 tick marks is going to be 41 feet? Okay, good. So what assumptions can you make? What two sides or angles could you start to figure out what x is?
A and N.
Oh, so you do know what you're doing.
Oh, I get
You just, now that you try, because you don't have to talk to your neighbor, you're going to try now. Okay, so what are the two angles that are equal to each other, everyone? K and N, good, okay?
okay.
All right, so substitute. What's x equal to? Go. Okay, so when you plug in x, or plug in these values, you're going to figure out what x is first, and you figure out x is equal to 6. Raise your hand if you and your group got that at least. Okay, and is this the final answer? No, what's it asking for? What is the perimeter, right? On some problems, they'll say, well, what's the value of x? And then you're done, okay? If it's asking for the perimeter, then you plug it back in. You figure out, I figured out these other ones are 20 and 31. You add them, 92 feet, okay? Give someone a high five around you if you got 92 feet correct. Okay? Excellent. Okay, that concludes the lesson.